This is not just another Wednesday. This is a divine appointment. You didn't stumble into this message by accident. You were summoned because something or someone is about to be removed from your life, and it won't be random. It will be precise, holy, necessary. The release will not come with noise, but with clarity. You've already felt it. The silence that grew louder, the energy that shifted when they walked in, the ache that doesn't feel like heartbreak, but like a door closing gently from the inside. God is not trying to hurt you. He's trying to free you, because the next chapter of your calling cannot carry what you're still trying to keep. What if the very thing you've been praying to restore is the very thing God has been preparing to remove? What if that delay was never about timing, but about alignment? This is the tension between destiny and comfort, between what you love and what's costing you your light. And here, in this sacred space, you are being asked to choose. At Chosen One Sanctuary, we don't run from divine separation. We recognize it as the unsealing of the scroll, the holy moment when heaven steps in and says, "Enough." Ecclesiastes says, "There's a time to keep and a time to cast away." This is the time to release, not out of bitterness, but out of reverence, because what's leaving was never meant to survive who you're becoming. Stay until the end, because what you're about to hear may explain every closed door, every unanswered prayer, and every person who walked away without warning. This isn't just a message. This is a prophetic unveiling, and the scroll is beginning to open. The mark was placed in silence. Before anyone doubted you, before they whispered your name in confusion, suspicion, or envy, heaven had already whispered it in purpose. You were chosen in a realm they cannot see, set apart long before this world began measuring worth by applause and validation. Being chosen does not begin with celebration. It begins with contradiction. God places His mark on your life, and the attacks follow before the recognition. Just like Joseph, you were given a dream, not a platform. And that dream stirred the very spirits that would try to bury you. The jealousy wasn't personal. The distance wasn't random. The rejection wasn't punishment. All of it was confirmation. You were marked, not for comfort, but for collision with purpose. And that mark attracted both heaven's protection and hell's resistance. You weren't delayed, you were disguised. And while they labeled you strange, too sensitive, too deep, God was building a spiritual infrastructure inside you that only the broken can carry. Your tears were never wasted. They were ink on the scroll. And in the silence where no one clapped, God clapped alone, because He saw who you would become. Sometimes the mark of the chosen doesn't look like fire, it looks like being overlooked. Hidden in plain sight. There is a mystery to how God hides His vessels. You were veiled behind ordinariness, wrapped in delay, disguised in defeat. But heaven was watching. David was anointed in secret while his brothers watched in confusion. Mary was carrying the word in her womb while the world still called her scandal. Moses was hidden in reeds before he ever held a rod. Obscurity was not your punishment. It was your cocoon. God often covers what He crowns, because the world cannot be trusted with the sacred in its unfinished form. You thought you were invisible, but you were in incubation. The years of being misunderstood were not wasted. They were a fence of protection around your anointing. The relationships that ended without explanation were not random. They were checkpoints, heaven's way of keeping your soil pure. The silence wasn't absence, it was divine surveillance. God watched every time you showed up anyway, prayed anyway, stayed kind anyway. And that kind of faith does not go unnoticed. It is recorded, sealed, and soon revealed. You weren't overlooked, you were hidden because oil leaks in the wrong hands. The fire that reveals the fault line's pain doesn't just hurt, it reveals. God doesn't allow the fire to destroy you. He uses it to uncover what's been cracking underneath the surface. things you couldn't see when everything looked whole. Betrayal is the scalpel he sometimes uses to expose misalignment. Loss is the pressure that forces hidden idols to the surface. And heartbreak is often heaven's megaphone when we've been ignoring the whisper. Think of Job. Stripped of everything familiar, he still clung to the mystery of God. Think of Peter. Sifted like wheat, so that what was unstable in him could be burned off by fire and replaced with authority. You thought the pain was punishment. It was purification, because some altars cannot be built until everything else has been burned down. And this is why God lets certain people fall away. Their presence kept you distracted. Their influence kept you tethered to a version of yourself he was trying to crucify. God didn't let it break you. He let it break what was blocking you. And when the smoke clears, you'll see, not what you lost, but what could finally live. The fire was never after your destruction. It was after your unveiling. The danger of delayed obedience. There is a cost to hesitation. Every time you ignore the nudge, every time you try to hold on to someone whose season is closing, every time you ask for one more sign when God already whispered the answer, you are wagering destiny for comfort. Lot's wife looked back and became a pillar of what no longer moved. Saul kept what God said to destroy and lost the throne. Delay is disobedience in slow motion. You've known for a while. The uneasiness, the fatigue, the sense that something, or someone, was out of sync with your becoming. But fear makes idols out of history, and the enemy knows how to use familiarity as a leash. What you refuse to release will eventually become the very thing that resists your next level. You weren't called to carry what's crumbling. You were called to walk away when heaven says enough. And the longer you delay the obedience, the heavier the consequences become. The weight, you feel, isn't always warfare. Sometimes it's delayed obedience trying to teach you what trust looks like. Your voice has power. Now, after the silence, after the loss, after the refining fire, something happens in the realm of authority. What once broke you no longer defines you. What once silenced you now becomes the very reason your voice shakes rooms. Luke 10:19. I have given you authority to overcome all the power of the enemy. That authority isn't charisma. It's not volume. It's not titles. It's what's forged in the wilderness when no one's watching. It's what's birthed in the stillness when you keep showing up anyway. You don't need validation to carry it. You already carry it, because the mantle isn't earned. It's confirmed through suffering. Like Esther, your preparation was hidden, but your voice will shift nations. Like Elijah, your prayers will open heavens. Like Jesus, your silence in one season will break chains in the next. You no longer speak as the one who was hurt. You speak as the one who was healed and handed keys. The enemy remembers who you were. Heaven recognizes who you've become. The scroll you must now unseal. Every chosen one carries a scroll, a divine assignment sealed in seasons of waiting, carved through trials and written in the ink of obedience. That scroll cannot open until certain attachments are severed, because what God has written for you requires space, requires surrender, requires a cleared stage. Jesus unrolled the scroll and declared the prophecy, only after his wilderness season. Paul stepped into commission, only after the scales fell from his eyes. You are at that threshold now. The scroll is opening, and what you carry, your voice, your gift, your wisdom, is needed now more than ever. But it must be released in full alignment, not tethered to what God already removed. The same hand that removed them is now pointing you forward. You are not wandering. You are being launched, and heaven is waiting on your yes, not just to be healed, but to be sent. There's a reason your hands feel empty. They are being prepared to carry something holy. You are not alone in this shift. This isn't just happening to you. It's happening across the earth. A great separation is taking place, a divine thinning of the veil. And the chosen ones, those who've been marked, hidden, broken, and refined, are rising. What you feel in your spirit is echoed in others across nations and timelines. Dreams aligning, relationships dissolving, assignments emerging. Like Elijah, you may feel alone, but there are 7,000 more. Unseen, unknown, unshaken. This is the rise of the remnant, the ones who walk differently, see differently, speak with the weight of what they've survived. You're not crazy, you're early, and those who resonate with your voice will find you because they've been walking through the same fire, waiting for the same release. You were never isolated. You were being synchronized, the echo of what you carry. This isn't just about your healing. It's about the people your healing will touch. It's about the doors your deliverance will unlock. It's about the lives that will awaken when you finally say, "Yes, I'm ready." The pain you survived will become someone else's roadmap. The wisdom you carry will echo into households you've never seen. Your obedience now will ripple through generations not yet born. Moses didn't just deliver himself, he carried a people. Jesus didn't just resurrect, he activated the body. And you aren't just being restored, you are becoming a signal in the spirit, a living echo of heaven's intention. What leaves your life this week will make space for what must echo through it forever. You are not here to impress, you are here to awaken. The scroll has been unsealed. The separation is complete. Now, the sound must go out, and what you release will not return void. This is the final proof that separation was never about loss. It was about unlocking what could only emerge through absence. The person you mourned, the silence you feared, the goodbye you didn't ask for. All of it was heaven removing noise from your signal. Because what's coming needs clarity. What you carry needs space. And now that space is holy. You were not left behind. You were lifted out. Because you are not who you were. You are not the version that tolerated delay, begged for crumbs, or silenced your gift for the sake of false peace. You are the one who made it through fire without burning. The one who stayed silent long enough to hear the whisper of God. The one who let go. Not because it was easy, but because your destiny demanded it. And now, heaven has confirmed it. You have been marked. You have been refined. You have been released. Let this be your response. Comment Hasidana 7 below if your spirit knows this was your confirmation. Share what awakened you. What part made you feel seen, undone, aligned. Subscribe and stay connected to Chosen One's Sanctuary, because you were never meant to walk this out alone. You are part of a remnant, a rising, a scroll that echoes. You are not alone. You are the next echo.